Hi, and welcome to English-Fabule. Are you learning English? Great. Let's learn English with a very interesting story. Don't forget to subscribe, like, and comment. Let's get started.
Something very important happened recently in the world. It is about a religious order. This order was made about a famous leader. This special religious order is called a fatwa. A fatwa is an old idea in the Islamic religion. It is like a decision or rule given by a religious expert. It has been used for many hundreds of years in Islamic law and life. Recently, a new fatwa was issued. It came from Iran. This fatwa is against a man who was the President of the United States. His name is Donald Trump. He is known by many people all over the world. Making a fatwa against a world leader is a very serious action. It is not a simple matter. Such an order can have important and sometimes dangerous results for different people and places. This kind of event can affect many countries, not just one. This fatwa was issued during a time when there were many problems and high tension between some countries. This makes the fatwa even more important to understand for everyone. This story will help you learn about fatwas in general. We will explain what a fatwa is in simple terms, so it is easy to understand. We will then look closely at the specific fatwa that was made against Mr. Trump from Iran. We will try to understand why this fatwa was issued at that particular time. We will also see what it means for different parts of the world, now and in the future. We will think about how this fatwa affects politics between countries and their leaders. We will consider its meaning for religious ideas, beliefs, and rules around the globe. And we will look at how it might change or affect safety for people and nations everywhere. This story shows how an old religious idea can still be very powerful in the modern world. Understanding this connection between religion, leaders, and global safety is very important today. This book will explain these difficult topics clearly for you to understand better. 2. What is a fatwa? A fatwa is a religious answer or opinion. It comes from a special person who knows a lot about Islam. This person is called a qualified Islamic scholar. They have spent many years studying Islamic teachings and history. The main purpose of a fatwa is to give guidance to Muslims. Life can be complex, and people need help to live according to Islamic law, called Sharia. When people have a question about how to live by their faith, they ask a scholar for a fatwa. Questions can be about everyday life, like what to eat or how to pray. They can also be about business, marriage, or new problems today. Only certain scholars can issue a fatwa. These scholars are usually called a mufti. To become a mufti, a person needs deep knowledge of Islamic texts and traditions. They must also have the respect and trust of their religious community. This trust is key to the importance of a fatwa. The process for creating a fatwa is careful. Someone presents a question or a situation to a qualified scholar. The scholar studies the question deeply. They look for answers in important Islamic sources. The main sources are the Quran, the Holy Book, and the Hadith, sayings of Prophet Muhammad. Scholars also use past rulings. Based on this study, the scholar forms their opinion. They write this opinion down, and it becomes the fatwa. This ruling is then shared with the person or a larger group. An important point about a fatwa is that it is usually a non-binding opinion. This means it is not a law that the government makes people follow. People are free to choose whether to accept or reject the fatwa. The authority of a fatwa comes from the religious respect people have for the scholar who issued it. They follow it because they trust the scholar's understanding of Islamic law. So it relies on religious faith and community respect, not on state power to make people obey. But even if it is not a state law, a fatwa can have strong influence. 3. The Trump Fatwa. This chapter tells about the specific fatwa given against President Trump. A fatwa, as we know, is a religious opinion. This one was issued by a very important religious leader in Iran. This leader is called Grand Ayatollah Nasser Makarem Shirazi. He is one of the top religious figures in Iran. He gave this religious ruling about President Trump. The reason given for the fatwa was serious. The religious leaders believed that President Trump had threatened Iranian leaders. They said he had spoken about harming high-ranking officials in Iran, including the supreme leader. The fatwa used very strong words. It called President Trump an enemy of Allah. The Arabic word used was muharib. This term means someone who is fighting against Islam or against Islam. The fatwa stated that President Trump and others were against the faith of Allah. It also contained a call for action. The fatwa asked Muslims all over the world to do something. It told them to make these enemies feel sorry for their words and actions. It asked them to show these people the consequences of their threats. The fatwa also spoke about a reward. It said that any person who causes harm to President Trump because of this religious ruling would be seen as a warrior in the path of Allah. This person, the fatwa said, would receive a reward for their actions. Another important religious leader in Iran, Grand Ayatollah Hossein Nouri Hamadani, issued a fatwa like this one at the same time. This showed that the view was shared by senior religious figures in the country. These fatwas were shared widely and quickly. They were shown on state television and in news reports in Iran. This helped the message reach a large number of people very fast. The time when this fatwa was issued was very important. It came during a period of high tension. Relations between Iran and countries like the United States and Israel were very difficult. There had been recent military actions and events that had made the situation worse just before the fatwas were given. Issuing such a strong fatwa from top religious authorities, using powerful words, calling for action, and doing it during a tense political time made it a major event. It was not just a simple religious opinion. It became a significant statement from Iran's religious leadership. It highlighted the deep problems between these countries. The fatwa showed how religious authority can sometimes be used in international politics. 4. An old story, the Rushdie fatwa. We looked at a fatwa against a leader. Now let's look at an old story about a different fatwa. This one happened a long time ago, in 1989. It was about a writer named Salman Rushdie. Salman Rushdie wrote a book called The Satanic Verses. Some people thought this book was very bad. They said it was against their religion. Because of the book, a high religious leader in Iran, Ayatollah Ruhollah Khomeini, made a fatwa. This fatwa was different and very serious. It said that Salman Rushdie must die. It also said that anyone who helped publish the book must die. This fatwa caused big problems around the world. Many countries were not happy with Iran. The country where Rushdie lived, the United Kingdom, stopped talking to Iran in a normal way for a time. Other countries in Europe were also angry. They put some rules on Iran. Salman Rushdie could not live a normal life anymore. He had to hide. Police helped protect him for many years because of the danger. He could not go out freely or live in one place easily. The threat from the fatwa was always there. Sadly, the danger was real, not just for Rushdie, but for other people too. People who worked with the book were also in danger. For example, the man who translated the book into the Japanese language was attacked and killed in 1991. The man who published the book in Norway was shot, but he did not die. The man who translated it into the Turkish language was also killed in 1993. Even many years later, in 2022, Salman Rushdie was attacked again. He was badly hurt. The person who attacked him seemed to agree with the ideas from Iran that called for his death. This shows how a fatwa, even an old one, can cause danger for a very long time. The Rushdie case showed the world how serious a fatwa calling for death could be. It was not just words. It caused real events, hurt people, and changed lives. It also showed how a religious ruling from one country could create problems all over the world and put a person in danger for decades. 5. Who has the power? In Islam, there is no single leader for everyone around the world. Religious authority often comes from scholars. These are people who study Islamic texts deeply. They give guidance to Muslims on many things in life. Their power comes from their knowledge and the respect people have for them. In Iran, many people are Shia Muslims. In Shia Islam, followers often look to very important scholars called marjas or ayatollahs. These leaders are seen as sources of religious guidance. A fatwa is a religious opinion given by a qualified scholar. It is their understanding of Islamic law about a question. For example, it could be about how to live a good life or what to do in a new situation. Usually, a fatwa is like advice. It is not a law from the government that police will make you follow. Muslims can choose which scholar's fatwa they want to follow. This is very different from the laws a country makes that everyone must obey. But in a country like Iran, things are different. The government structure is based on Islamic law. Top religious leaders, like ayatollahs, hold important positions in the government. They help make the country's laws based on their religious views. This means the difference between a religious opinion and a state rule can be very small. When a top religious leader in Iran issues a fatwa, it is not just personal religious advice. Because the leader is part of the government structure, the fatwa can be seen as having the support of the state. The fatwa against President Trump came from such a leader in Iran. His position gives it religious importance among his followers. His connection to the Iranian government gives it political weight. This situation shows how religious power and state power are linked in Iran. The fatwa against Mr. Trump gets its power from both the religious authority of the leader and the political structure of the country. It highlights who has influence and power in places where religion and government are connected closely. This mixing of religious guidance and government influence makes the fatwa a serious matter in both religious and political ways. 6. The world's reaction. The fatwa against the former U.S. president caused many reactions around the world. People and governments in different countries watched closely. Many asked about international law. This means the rules between countries. World rules often talk about human rights. One important human right is not to be targeted with calls for violence. The fatwa called for harm to the former president. This was seen by many as going against these international rules. Countries also looked at the responsibility of a government. If leaders in one country support or issue a fatwa that calls for harming a person in another country, does this country have a problem under international law? Rules say that countries should not support actions that hurt people in other nations, especially leaders. For the person who was targeted, the fatwa created big security problems. This person needed much more protection. It became harder and more dangerous for them to travel or appear in public. Security services had to work hard to keep them safe. The fatwa also made diplomatic relations difficult. Diplomacy is how countries talk and work together. The fatwa made things very tense, especially between Iran and countries friendly with the former president. It became harder for these countries to find ways to cooperate or solve problems peacefully. It showed that a religious ruling could have a very real and big effect on world politics and safety. 7. Fatwas in the news today. Today, fatwas work differently because of new technology. The internet and social media are very fast. They can send a message all around the world in just minutes. Think about old times. A religious ruling stayed mostly in one place or community. People heard about it slowly, maybe by talking or reading paper. But now, everything is fast. A religious leader can say something, and everyone with a phone or computer can read or see it very soon. This changes a fatwa a lot. It is not just a local religious idea anymore. It quickly becomes a global news story. TV news, websites, and social media talk about it. People in different countries learn about it right away. The fatwa against the former U.S. president shows this clearly. When that religious ruling was made, news spread everywhere quickly. It was on TV in many countries. People discussed it on social media like Twitter and Facebook. It did not stay just a religious matter for one group. The media makes a fatwa into something else. It becomes a political tool. Leaders and governments can use it to talk about their ideas or problems with other countries. It is not only about religion anymore. It becomes a part of international news and politics. This quick spread makes the results bigger too. More people hear the message. This can make things more dangerous for the person the fatwa is against. It also adds more stress to the relationship between countries. So, modern technology takes an old religious idea, the fatwa, and makes it a big, fast, global event. It connects religion, politics, and news in new ways we did not see before the Internet. 8. What happens next? We have learned about a fatwa. It is a religious opinion or ruling from a qualified Islamic scholar. It helps explain Islamic law. It is usually not a law from the state or government. We discussed the fatwa against former U.S. President Donald Trump. This ruling came from a high religious leader in Iran. The reason was that Iran said Mr. Trump threatened their leaders. The fatwa used strong words, calling Mr. Trump an enemy of Allah. This happened during a time of much tension between the U.S. and Iran. We also looked back at another famous fatwa from the past. This was the one against the writer Salman Rushdie. That fatwa happened in 1989. It was because of his book. That fatwa caused a big crisis around the world. It put Mr. Rushdie's life in danger for many years. People connected to his book were also attacked. This old story shows how powerful and dangerous a fatwa can be in the real world. Today, the fatwa against Mr. Trump shows that this is still a problem. It creates questions about security for the person who is targeted. It also makes problems for countries trying to talk to each other and have good relations. International law also considers these rulings. Does a ruling calling for violence fit with international rules? Countries have rules against calling for violence. If a country supports such a ruling, it can face problems. Modern technology, like the Internet and social media, change things. A religious ruling can travel around the world very fast. What starts as a local religious idea can quickly become a big global news story. The fatwa against Mr. Trump is an example. It shows how media makes it a political tool, not just a religious one. What happens next is not certain. Will religious rulings like this continue to be issued? How will leaders and countries try to keep people safe from such threats? How can different countries and cultures find ways to talk and work together safely? These are big questions for the world now and in the future. The fatwa against Mr. Trump highlights the difficult connection between old religious traditions and new global politics. How do you think the world can manage these complex issues moving forward?
Hey there! Just a second before you go. If you learned something new today, please give this video a like, write your thoughts in the comments, and subscribe to the channel. It only takes a second, and it really, really helps to create even better English videos for you. Your support means the world. Thank you.